Hi, this is Barbados Yu-Gi-Oh! Elite. We're trying to have a discuss analysis on Masterduel and analysis on KNIBS in particular. This is a deck that I plays a lot on Masterduel. I think I went to Master One with it in 2 days when it first was released. But now that everybody has more or less caught on to what the gimmick is, what the deck does, the deck is feeling a little bit more lackluster, although it is a very strong combo deck. So I'll just go through what I believe we can do with it for the up and coming Duelist Cup and how we are going to evolve the deck. So right now we are playing 2 Drolls, 1 Maxi, 3 Ash, 2 Razens, 3 Dr. Malov, 2 Koalos, 2 Jalon, 3 Azuna, 2 Joko, 1 Lantern, 1 Lupus, Triple Sue, 1 Royd, Double Bogard, 1 Valias, 1 Rota, Double Stick Your Stool, 1 Vanquish Soul Start, Triple Kiss for KNA, 1 Call, 1 Crossout, and 1 X-Force Release. Obviously, I'll discuss the deck in further. Let me just get out, because most of these ratios more or less is standard with just some unique adjustments. So we are playing the Nash package, but the Nash package we are choosing to play is 104 Masquerade with 104 C104. We're playing Durandal, Nash, 1 Ripper, Valon, 1 Jax, 1 Chaos XYZ Nash Knight, 1 X Werewolf, 1 Zeus, 1 Typhon, Double Rock, 1 SP, and 1 Soyuja Sculpture. And this deck feels terrible. Right now on the ladder, we are playing a lot of Radiant Typhoon, and Radiant Typhoon, since it's newer, it's going to be more popular because people are going to try to learn it and see if it's viable. And the thing is, Radiant Typhoon is extremely powerful. It's not good on the shifter. It doesn't do anything. It can play pretty well, although it removes the negate since it will not have the MST in the graveyard. If they remove multiple MSTs, probably they will not be able to recover it. But it's not terrible on the shifter. That is why I removed shifter from my deck. The other thing they did is I removed Vanquish Soul Trap, which is Dust Devil or Snow Devil. Okay, Snow Devil. We removed the Vanquish Soul Trap, I guess, because the card, although powerful, and let me be very clear, is extremely powerful, it doesn't work with Radiant. And even to make it better, I think the idea of having X-Force Release as an option in your main deck have come to an end. I think right now the other release card might be better, because what's happening in the Radiant matchup is that, and say if they're going to be popular, what's happening in the Radiant matchup is that in draw phase, standby phase, they're doing like search, add MST, use MST, hit the release, which they're more likely to be able to identify if we don't set the trap off of the field spell, or if we pop the KS mechanic to set it, they will know where it is. So by doing that, they takes out the werewolf before it even becomes a threat. And that's why the X-Force release feels terrible. It's great into a lot of the matchup, but with the main matchup right now, which is being Radiant Typhoon, it doesn't feel good. That's why I cut the trap right now, because the trap wasn't doing anything other than burning for 18. I guess you could see that as a big thing, but really, in the base scheme of things, it's not. And since Radiant Typhoon's method of removal isn't destruction, it is more along the lines of pinning back and negates. It doesn't. The trap protection is not good, and that is what we are finding with the ladder. Is like Radiant has so much things going for it. And obviously, they're not even playing their strongest card yet. Because I haven't seen anybody on the ladder with it. But trust me, in the Duelist Cup, free wins is free wins. And there's a card that's still around, which is Harpy's Featherstorm. I think this card needs to go. Because what's going to happen now is that with it being a wind deck, and Cresselia is a wind beast, it's more likely that you're going to get hit with Harpy's Featherstorm. Probably is going to be, and which is going to be an end for most decks. Unless you have layer interactions like Draco Tails, which they can survive with their traps, you're not playing. And if they hit you with it during their turn, you are not playing. I guess K9 VS have an opportunity that they can use the Ripper. I mean, they can use Azuna Su. And hopefully the hand shots will fall off, right? Where it's probably their biggest advantage. Which is playing on your opponent that if you get hit with Harpy Featherstorm, but Harpy Featherstorm eventually is going to become a problem. And that's where the deck is at. The deck does not have the tools to beat Radiant. Does it have the tools to beat any other deck? Is have an amazing matchup against Dragon Tail once you know what you're doing. Because Azuna, using Azuna in the Dragon Tail matchup, going into either Valon or Ripper, depends on the situation, you usually wins. Because your whole gimmick will best be going to battlefields, run over what you can, then Zeus, wipe the traps away, and then start playing. If you go Valon, the only option they will have is hopefully to drop hand and the mana and use it to pop it before it goes in, because that's the only way to be able to remove it, because every other interaction Draco Tails have is more or less targeting. And if they don't have it, they just lose. That's why there's sometimes people just go Ripper when you know they have a meta pan in hand to check it, but that is only beneficial if you can get the attack through. So, although the Ripper can be a good player, Valon to me seems more practical. Because booking a monster and then running over it is easy. You guarantee to get the Zeus. And Saints there is going to have Horn set. When you target it, I guess their best play would then to spin it back. If they don't spin it back, they take the attack, because Horn can't target Valon, Horn then can't target their face now. So there's no way for there to stop the attack from connecting for you to get to your Zeus. So Azuna is extremely powerful in the Draco Tail matchup. But I guess Draco Tail is not the biggest threat right now. Mitsurugi is another matchup that may seem favorable, but it's really difficult. There's like their plays is still primarily on SP Fuko, but the biggest problem we have is that they play Impulse. Impulse checks so much cards in K9 VS, and that's why the Impulses decks that can play Impulse in this format probably is going to win, because it also checks Cresselia went from the Radiant. So if you cut off them from being able to plus or summon, which I really prefer to just stop it with Ash, because I don't want them to find a way to just summon it and then get their plus or top of game Impulse. But you can understand that Impulse does a lot. Impulse is a very good card. I wouldn't say it's great into Radiant, but it's amazing into Draco Tail, because you can hit for mana, you can hit the spells. It's amazing into K9 VS when you hit the trap if you want to use it as a disruption or primarily Su. And it's great into I think it's okay into Yummy, but Impulses the ability to when they're going to spin when they're better to send it back to the extra deck, summon from graveyard. Impulse in there sometimes feels so strong. So That is probably why Mitsurugi is a lot stronger than people give credit, and I think it's probably going to be one of the best decks in the Duelist Cups. But with that being stated, the KNVS don't have a good matchup against those. But the matchup, and so the question then becomes, why play it? Well, the deck is relatively straightforward, with a limited skills required. And I think that is what probably makes the deck more desirable over a long period of grinding. Because the combos are straightforward, I will probably do a combo tutorial. The combos are straightforward because your whole gimmick is to try to end on Nash, Ripper, Force Release, Rock, and have attributes in half Thistle. But if not having Sophia Sub. If you had the trap, you try to end on the trap as well. And that is usually enough to beat any deck. Because what happens is that the deck does not have hard punish. Right? Outside of draw, the deck doesn't have a hard punish. And you can play around draw if you open up with the early Ripper before draw. So when you go like Joko level 5, you don't usually add when you summon the Joko, you just go to Ripper and hope your opponent's not playing Purge. And just go detach to Joko, add Lantern, bring back Joko, then do your pluses there. And then obviously you will go into the Nash Knight or whatever else will have in Azuna and a spell card which will search the next dark in hand. So it does the combos are straightforward. It doesn't have any hard punish. And the best part about the deck is that it has soul. This card is phenomenal. It does what current Yu-Gi-Oh should be doing and playing on turn 0. And playing on turn 0 is the way forward because what happens is that the deck don't have much options when going second. But this one does. We have Azuna in Engine and Su in Engine, which are hand traps. Su is 2 pops or take. Azuna can be any rank 5, determining the situation. You can have a situation like you're playing against a person who don't know no better and just activate some hand track ability to add. And then you go, and then you just, if you know where the deck adds, you just go to Azuna into Durandal if you have Droll in hand. And instead of just Drolling to shut off the opponent, you will just wait for them to do the second search and then Durandal discard Droll and just take their whole entire hand. And that probably is going to let them quit. That's why Droll is in here. Because Droll is not only an answer for KNVS, Droll is also our counter to Maxi Light cards. And Durandal and Droll is how we beat it. It is a combo which if we do play today, we happen to see it, I will click, which I believe is insane, which I don't believe Droll is balanced, but my argument for Droll being banned is I haven't discussed on the channel. But this counter with Durandal is extremely strong. And how you play it out allows you to end with Durandal and a spell card in the back, which means that you will have them, when they go for their turn, the one card that they will mostly have, we will have a chance to either negate it if it's a normal spell or a monster effect on field. And that is how we more times than not win on the Macharmies. Maxi is obviously a floodgate. We plays a lot of floodgates. Macharmies, Pualos, and Parulia. Maxi, Shifter. We are trying to. I think I'm playing a little less floodgates or hand traps. But I think I'm going to boost up the count. If anything, I've taught me from the previous days that I probably need to put back in Shifter and just live with if I have bad matchups, because I still want to have good matches against Yummy and Draco Tail. So we play 3 Ash, 3 Ash because we need the fires, and it's an amazing card. It's a Macharmy counter. Double Rising because it's at 2 Malav. Perulia, I think most of that I call, but we have already discussed. Is the tech choices that we are going to talk about. And every deck, more decks and more times than not, most decks going to be the same. But my decision to play 3 KS for Kira is that I want to see it open a starter. Why say is that Masterduel is a best of 1 format. If you go first, you want to win going first. That's what this deck is supposed to do. So yes, although it reduces the attributes you can draw for Sue, when it lands and when it connects, it connects. It causes Kiasing to Joko, and they don't throw there, you put that early in the game is over. And that I think if I am playing a Crossel and Paul by the Grave, honestly, I am not liking them. But there's guaranteed help when more goes first. But because sometimes you only open up with Stake Your Soul, something you only open up with Horizon, and you need to let it connect, and you don't want that to draw a mat. See, call Crossel, they put same work. But I'm not liking them. I think the deck can function well under these types of hand traps. That just cutting them and just adding more hand traps to give myself a livability, like double Perulia, might probably be the way to go. So if I am doing anything here, I probably will cut 1 case and these 2, but then double Perulia, and just have more ways to stop my opponent, because Radiant is a problem, and Radiant do not like Perulia. Just like the Vanquish is a problem, and they do not like Perulia. So today's testing, we probably are going to try out and see if it works. Yes, see if it works. Because yesterday we tried out the crossout and I did not like it. I take more hand traps. If I do this, I think it might feel a little bit better. Because Perulia, Wallows, stop my opponent from playing, and then fumble. Yes, there's a possibility that I could draw more with too much Macharmies and they're not attributes, but we are trying to find out what's the best option going into the Duelist Cup. And we are going to try out if this can help us increase our Radiant Typhoon matchup. So yes, this is and probably the new adjustment for our deck. I think it's still probably the second best deck in Macedo. But hopefully we can win with it, plus there's going to be our primary deck in the Duelist Cup. So thanks for listening about the pseudo deck profile, the theories behind it, the explanation behind certain cards, and why we are doing things. I guess if there's anything that needs to be discussed, just leave it, or anything you want to add, just leave it down in the comments and we will get back to you. Guarantee. Since it is a very small community, and I'm hoping that everyone can give an input on insight into the game.